Greetings all, welcome to another session here at Tuzi Talks. We're going to today play with some sentence diagramming. Yay, everybody's favorite topic. Try to break down about a dozen sentences and I'll just try to walk through the process. And if you have any questions, you can certainly shoot me a text down below or shoot me an email if you know what that is. Let's jump over to our first sentence here. First sentence is this one right here. The city council objected when the mayor changed his mind. When you're doing sentence diagramming, obviously the first thing that you want to do is right up here at the top, you want to begin with a big old S, which just stands for sentence. Now there's a lot of things here that I can put in to make it more detailed. I can describe what kind of sentence it is off of the 5 basic sentence types, which you should have covered at least at some point here. When I do sentence diagramming, I am going to be looking for the main verb. I want to find out where that main verb is so that I can break things down properly. So as I look at this sentence here, this looks like the main verb to me, and so that's where I'm going to have my separation. Everything from this side over is going to be in that first noun phrase that I'm going to have here at the beginning. When you're making sentence diagrammings, it's always good to try to keep everything in the same levels as you go down, as you get closer to the word. Okay, here. So we've got in here, we have a noun phrase. I could just draw a line all the way straight down to here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to separate these out. I'm going to say I've got a determiner and I have a noun in this noun phrase. I'm sorry, take that back. And an adjective and a noun in this noun phrase. Okay, and then I could just run lines all the way down to these 3. No big deal. But I'm gonna run them down right now. Okay, just run these straight down. And that's what those are, okay? Now, here's your main verb. So off of the main sentence again, I'm going to have a verb phrase. And then I'm going to run over here, I'm going to run the main verb phrase. And then we're going to go to a main verb because we don't have an auxiliary, okay? I could put an auxiliary in here if it was available, but since it's not, I'm not going to put it in. Your standard for for a verb is going to typically be verb phrase, main verb phrase, auxiliary, and main verb. Okay? And let me also say that not all of these, not the system I'm going to be using is not one specific system. You'll read in a variety of books, whether it's Larson Freeman or Clammer or Richards. You're going to find slightly different tweaks of all these. No big deal if you have slightly different words, as long as we're understanding what the notation means. All right, so from here I come down to my straight verb. Here's a big marker for me. Okay, that's letting me know that I've got some kind of a clause here. When you're dealing with sentences, you should be cognizant of things that look like this. And so typically you got certain kinds of clauses. You've got just a regular clause, just to let you know, is basically something that has a subject and a verb, and it can't stand by itself. And oftentimes, I'm just going to put it in here, hidden. Oftentimes it's got a marker, and the marker could mean that it's an adjective clause or an adverb clause or a noun clause, depending on the marker. Okay, but those are the main types of clauses. You've got a noun clause, if I could spell. You've got an adjective clause. And you have an adverb clause. Okay, and you all know what a noun is, right? A noun is person, place, thing, or idea, typically. And so a noun clause is a noun. Okay, so it's a person, place, thing, or idea. And it takes the place of a noun, but it's a clause. Okay, same thing with an adjective clause. It's an adjective, okay, but it's taking the place, it's a clause that's taking the place of an adjective. An adverb clause is a clause, subject, verb, probably a marker, and it is taking the place of an adverb. It's doing the job of an adverb. Oftentimes when I'm breaking down sentences like this, I'll also talk about something called form and function. And so we've got the form of something. That's one thing. And then we have the function of something. Okay? And so the form of these things that we're talking about now are all clauses. Their function is to function as a noun, or function as an adjective, or function as an adverb. And so that's what we're doing here when we look at this stuff. All right, let's get back to our sentence. And we ran into the word when, and that's a marker for me. That's an identifier, a subordinator. Lets me know, hey, I've got a dependent clause coming in. Okay? When generally deals with time. Not generally, always deals with time. So this tells me immediately that this is going to be an adverb clause. Well, I'm going to create down here, I'm going to make an adverb clause. Okay, and I separate clauses from phrases because a clause, again, is has got a subject and a verb. We're going to pull off the subordinator, and then we're going to have a new sentence because, again, a clause is basically a sentence. And off of a sentence, we're always going to have a noun phrase and a verb phrase. So a noun phrase and a verb phrase. Everybody's excited now, yes? Okay, off of the noun phrase, we're going to have a determiner and a noun, in this case, the mayor. Off of your verb phrase, we're going to have our main verb phrase, and we're going to have a main verb, okay, which is changed. Now, what did he change? His mind. Mind is another noun, so this is another noun phrase that we're going to pull off here. It's going to be your direct object, okay, and in here we have a determiner and a noun. His mind. All right, now we got two major nouns in here. We've got this first one over here, and then way down, oh, I'm sorry, we have this one here, and then we have this one here. We've got three main nouns. They're all separate types of nouns. I could put noun sub 1, noun sub 1, noun sub 2 in here, just to let you know they're separate. You can do the same thing up here. Give this sentence an ID and give this sentence an ID. I'm not going to do that, though. Just want to walk through some of the basics today. Okay, let's go look at the second sentence. Is down there at the bottom. Our work on the planning committee includes all kinds of new ideas and concepts. First thing I'm going to do, well, I'm going to start with a big old S here at the top so that I know what's going on here. Our work on the planning committee. On preposition. Hey, I'm going to notice that right away. Okay? On the planning committee. All of this is going to go together. You got a preposition. You're definitely going to have an object that goes with it. So this is a prepositional phrase. This is not part of the main sentence. Actually, it's part of the main sentence, but it's not a necessary part. Okay? So I can just keep going. Remember, main parts are subjects and verbs. So our work includes, there's your main verb. All right? Now this means that everything from here over is going to be part of that noun phrase at the beginning. It's going to be part of that noun phrase at the beginning. So we're going to come over here, we'll make a noun phrase, and we're going to have a determiner, we're going to have a noun, okay, and we're going to have an adjective. This is an adjective phrase, okay, but that's its function. What's its form? What's it look like? It's a prepositional phrase. So we're going to put in a prepositional phrase there, and we've got a preposition, and prepositions always have some type of a noun phrase that goes with it. This particular noun phrase has a determiner, an adjective, okay, and a noun. We can all break this down. Again, our work on the planning committee. See how that all fits together there, right? All right, so all that fits under that first noun phrase. And off of here, of course, we're going to be doing a verb phrase. And everything goes into the verb phrase, okay? Basically, this is the complement of the rest of the sentence, if some people like to call it that. And I'm going to pull off of here. I'm going to pull off my main verb phrase again. Main verb phrase. There is no auxiliary here, because it's just one part of the verb. So I'm just going to come down and do a main verb. And then we'll come all the way down. Now, let's look at the rest of the sentence. We've got all kinds. Okay, kind, I guess I can count. One kind, two kinds. So that's a plural, so that's a noun. Of, preposition, new ideas and concepts. All of this goes together. Okay, it's a prepositional phrase. What's it doing? Okay, I got to ask that question again. What's its form and what's its function? So, first thing I'm going to pull off of here is a noun phrase. Okay, and I can do this two ways, depending on how I think about the sentence. I'm going to do it the way I would normally do it, but there is another way to do this. I've got a quantifier. Okay, I'm just going to put in a Q there. A Q could be a quantifier or a qualifier in my world, my diagramming world. Not all worlds are the same. And we have a noun in here, kinds, and we have in here an adjective phrase. Okay? Now, some people are going to say, I don't like adjective phrases here. They don't belong here. I should get the adjective phrase from up here at the top. Bring it down over here. That's all well and good. I'm going to connect to them this time. Sometimes I'll do it up here because I think the relationship between these two isn't necessarily that close. Here I think it's close. I'm going to put it in. Certainly going to be debatable among some people. All right, so quantifier here, kinds, and then this adjective phrase. Now the adjective phrase is actually a prepositional phrase. Again, we talked about form and function. Here's the function, here's its form. Okay, off of a prepositional phrase, you're going to have a preposition and a noun phrase. Now this noun phrase, okay, is going to have new, that's an adjective, ideas and concepts. It's got two nouns in it. I could just draw a line straight down and that'd be fine. I'm going to break this out again just for you. Adjective, okay, right, and this is a noun and a conjunction and another noun. Okay, and so that's how all those fit in. And that's that first two sentences there. Any questions? That's good. I'm glad I don't see any hands raised. I'm glad I don't see anybody with any questions there. That's good. We're just going to move on to the next one, okay? And take a quick peek at this. This one here, the report that the island is underwater is misleading. Again, I'm going to be looking for my major markers. Where's my main verb? Where are any clause markers? And where are my prepositional markers? Those are the things I'm going to be looking for. So, we've got a subject. Let's start up here with a big S. Okay, we've got a big S here for a sentence. I've got to know I've got this thing here, the report that the island is underwater is misleading. I got two is's here. One of them goes with a clause, one of them goes with the main sentence. Here's a marker. Okay, so I know this is beginning something. Marker and the subject and a verb. Okay, and then this is underwater, which is call it an adjective, or I can call it an adverb depending on how I'm going to describe it. But I see all this goes together. Okay, and then here's the main verb. All right, so now all of this part here, all of this is going to go on this side, on the left side. Make a noun phrase. Okay, this noun phrase is going to have a determiner and a noun and an adjective. Okay, this adjective, however, because it's the whole thing here, right? Just run these down real quick so you can see what I mean. This is an adjective. What is this doing? That the island is underwater is actually describing report. What kind of report is it? So it's an adjective. But it's not a phrase because it's got a subject and a verb. It's a clause. So I'm going to put a big old C right here. Okay? I'm going to pull out this complementizer, which I could call something else as well, but that's okay. I'm just going to make it easier this way. And I'm going to pull out a sentence. Okay, because it's a clause, it's going to have a sentence. Going to have a sentence, well, then I'm going to have a noun phrase, and this noun phrase has a determiner and a noun in it, and I'm going to have a verb phrase. Okay, and the verb phrase obviously is going to have a main verb phrase and a main verb, which is just the be. Okay, and then I'm going to have underwater. Now, the real question is, this is a prepositional phrase, okay, underwater. Okay, so that's its form. What's its function? Underwater, is it describing the island or is it describing the verb, its state? You can argue either one of these, okay? I'm going to argue that it's going to just be describing the island. So I'm going to make this an adjective phrase, which is a preposition, prepositional phrase. And then I'm going to have, okay, I got a preposition, which is under, and then a noun phrase, which is water. Okay? So all that fits together under the adjective clause. All this fits together under this noun phrase. Now, here's your main verb. So we've got a verb phrase. If you've got a main verb, you're going to go through that same format again. Typically for a verb is going to have a main verb, a verb phrase, a main verb phrase, and then two possibilities. An auxiliary and a main verb. All right? This structure you should memorize because that's always going to be the same. You got a verb phrase. Somewhere you're going to have a main verb phrase and a main verb. And you might have an auxiliary. Okay? Now, there are other people, what they'll do is they'll just make this a big triangle and say, here's the main verb. And then they're not going to separate out the verb and the main verb and the auxiliary. They'll make a little triangle here. I'm not too concerned about that. But breaking it down is a good thing. To be honest, you could break down the auxiliary into a whole bunch of things. You could break it down into what type of auxiliary. Is it a do, or a have, or a be, or a negative, or time? Okay, a whole bunch of things that go into the auxiliary, but we're not going to go into that now. Okay, let's just run off our normal thing here. Okay, we've got a main verb phrase, and a main verb, and then straight down. Okay, misleading. Okay, misleading is doing what? Is it describing the state? Is it describing the report? Okay, again, I'm going to say this is an adjective. Okay, and this phrase only has an adjective in it, but we're going to break it down anyway, and then we do there, and then we're done. Okay, remember this structure here. Okay, do not add underneath a main verb phrase. You're not going to add a noun. You're not going to add an adjective. It's only going to be one of these two things. All right? Okay, let's go on and look at the next one here. The librarian took from her desk a new edition of one of the classics. Yay! Okay, so what we'll do here is we're going to start with a big old S at the top. We've got the librarian took, all right, from preposition. Her desk, a new edition of preposition, one of the classics. Okay, I don't see a clause here. I see a whole bunch of nouns, classics, edition, desk, okay, librarian. I only see one verb, took. Okay, so this is going to be an easier sentence. Okay, again, from here over is the noun phrase. So there's not much of the noun phrase here. Noun phrase, determiner, noun, and then we just go straight down. Those are done. Here's your main verb. That's where you're going to be. You have your main verb structure. This thing over here you're going to have. So we'll pull out a main verb phrase. Try to balance this out if we can. Your verb phrase. Come on over here so that we can get your main verb phrase and then your main verb. And then we'll come straight down. Okay? All this now are prepositional phrases. What is their job? Remember, as I said before, you've got form and function. Form and function. Okay? We know the form of these. Prepositional phrase, prepositional phrase. What's their job? Okay? Took from her desk. Well, what is that doing? That's describing where she took it. So it's describing took, so it's going to be an adverb phrase. So I'm going to slide over here. I'm going to put in an adverb phrase, which is a preposition, which is a prepositional phrase, and includes a preposition, and includes a noun phrase. Okay, and the noun phrase includes a determiner and a noun. All right. Took from her desk. A new edition. What's a new edition? That sounds like a noun to me. So we'll come off here. We'll say noun phrase. And this noun phrase includes a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. Edition, new, a. Okay? So that's done. Of, hold on, that's something here. What's this doing? Here's your prepositional phrase. What's it doing? This is describing edition. What edition? Which edition? Right? Is the question you'd be asking. Oh, the the classics edition, right? Oh, that edition. Okay, so it's a prepositional phrase, but it's an adjective phrase. So over here we put an adjective phrase, and it's a preposition, okay? Function, form, and we have a preposition and a noun phrase. Now this noun phrase has, oh, hey, look what I missed. I missed this. I've got another one in here. Addition of one, and this noun phrase is going to be a noun, one, but this noun phrase has an adjective phrase in it, which is actually a prepositional phrase, which has a preposition, of, and then a noun phrase, the classics, right? This is a D, and this is an N. Okay? My bad there, I didn't see that originally. Ho, ho, ho. I had two prepositional phrases here, right? So you can break it down this way. Now, you could have simply said, you know what, this is just too complicated. I'm not going to write all this out. I'm just going to say it's an adjective phrase, and I could have drawn a little triangle, but then I could have said it's a prepositional phrase, or maybe here I put in 2 prepositional phrases, just to make it a little easier to break down. I could have done it this way. This is the actual way of breaking it down, okay? Questions here? All right, that was an easy one. Okay, remember form and function. Remember form and function. Now let's get back to here. Take a look at this one. It is unfortunate that Mr. Jones will not return. This is your false subject here. Pseudo subject. It's a place marker for the actual thing. Let's start here up at the top. We got a big S, a big old S for a sentence. Here's your noun phrase, is unfortunate. Okay, and that's describing it. Of course, we don't know what it is. This is it. That Mr. Jones will not return. Okay, this is the same as it. Right? This thing is unfortunate. That Mr. Jones will not return is unfortunate. So this is the same thing as it. We don't know what it is until we get to the end. But we've got a noun phrase over here, right? And your noun phrase consists of a noun, it. Okay? This noun and this noun are the same thing. Okay, so literally I would call this noun 1, right? And this one's going to be noun 1 also when I get to it. First thing I'm going to do is do the verb. I got a verb phrase. Way over here, main verb phrase, main verb, and then is. Unfortunate. Let's pull this off. Unfortunate. What's it doing? This is describing. Is it describing it or is it describing is? Something tells me it's describing the condition of whatever it is. So it's describing the condition, which is going to be describing the verb. So I'm going to make this an adverb phrase. And it's just one word, adverb. It's just an adverb, and we're going to use unfortunate, right? And then we're going to have a noun phrase. Okay, let's just go a little bit here. And this noun phrase, okay, is the same as this one over here. I have a noun, but it's actually a sentence. Okay, so this is actually a sentence. And we got a noun phrase, which is, I don't know what you would call Mr. I'm going to go call Mr. an adjective, right? And then what kind of Jones is he, right? And then a noun for Jones. Okay, and then we've got a verb phrase. And the verb phrase is will not return. Look here, it's our first big main verb phrase. This one has an auxiliary in it. Yay! And a noun. Okay, and the auxiliary, again, I could say it includes a modal and negative. Let's put both of them in there. I'm just going to put a little triangle in there instead. It'll be a little easier for me to do it that way. And then this is the main verb, return. Okay? And I forgot to pull out the complementizer here. Okay, which is your noun marker. Okay? So, that's how that one works. Let's go down to the next one, which is a little bigger. Because my wife entered the pie contest, I was unable to be a judge. This one's rather complicated. First of all, the problem here we got this because my wife. This is not your normal sentence. It doesn't begin normally. Normally you begin with a sentence. Normally you have a sentence and you break down with noun phrase and then a verb phrase. I can't do that with this one because this is not a noun phrase. Because it's an adverb phrase or an adverb clause marker. So what do I do? First thing I have to do is I have to break the rules. Okay. Normally the rule is I put my noun phrase first. I can't do that. I've got this thing here. This has to fit under the verb phrase. Okay? Now, to be honest, there are going to be some people who will say, well, the real thing you need to do is put the sentence in the original order. You have to put it in that you have to write the sentence, I was unable to be a judge because my wife entered the pie contest. You put it in the original form, and then you diagram it, and then you transition, you move that to the front. Okay? And so you do it with a bunch of rules later. So you diagram the original and then write a bunch of rules to talk about how it transitioned. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add another verb phrase in front. And this verb phrase is going to include an adverb clause with a subordinator and a sentence. And the sentence has a noun phrase, which has a determiner and a noun. And it's got a verb phrase, which has a main verb phrase and a main verb. And it's got another noun phrase, which has a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. Okay? Well, that's good. That fits under this verb phrase. Again, normally, normal construction, this is your normal construction. It's not going to be that way. I now was, okay, unable. Hold on. Let's pull this out. Now we got a noun phrase right here in the middle. What? What is this? Noun, straight down. And this, of course, was unable. Pull out here another verb phrase. Yeah, we split the verb phrase. Main verb phrase to main verb. And we have was. Next we have able, unable. I was unable. Unable is going to be an adjective phrase. Pull that off of here. Adjective phrase. And just an adjective. Unable. To be a judge. To be is an infinitive. And infinitives, my opinion, a royal pain in the neck when you try to diagram them. Okay? Basically, what they're trying to tell you to do is put it in its original form. To be, what linguists will say, is a reduced clause. I was unable that I could be a judge. Okay? I was unable, so we're going to have unable what? We're going to have another adjective clause here. And I need to write this in here. I was unable that I could be a judge. Which then gets reduced, okay, into what we have here. So, because it's a clause here, we've got a complementizer, and then we got a sentence. Noun phrase, noun, I, right? Verb phrase, main verb phrase, auxiliary, could, main verb, right? And then off of here, a noun phrase, determiner, and then a noun. A messy mess, right? This then gets reduced, that I could. That I could, this all gets reduced, and we take all this and we scratch it out, and it becomes to. And that's how we get to this part here, right? Okay? So when you get to an infinitive, you've got to say, oh, back the truck up. What is this actually? Okay? You got to literally write that in, what the actual thing is. So it'll fit within the tree. And that's the main thing. They want to make it fit in the tree. If they can fit it into the tree, they can digitize it. They can analyze it more properly. Okay? And that's why, in addition to drawing the tree, you may have some rules. And if you go into an actual, real, heavy linguistics textbook, they're going to have a whole bunch of different rules for transformations. How you transform to this thing. It's like what I was talking about before with regard to the because my wife. This thing really doesn't belong here. It belongs over on the other side. We cheated. Just fine. You can cheat as long as you understand the basic things. Okay. Let's go on to this next one here. Gail is the one for whom you are looking. Okay? It'll be a fun one here. We've got a big sentence. We've got a noun phrase. Gail. Gail. Right? And that's a noun. And it's just Gail. Here's a verb. Is the one. That's the whole sentence. For preposition. Whom you are looking. This whole puppy here is a noun. But look at it. I've got a subject and a verb. You are looking for Gail. For Gail, right? That's a noun clause. Okay, we've got a preposition, we've got an object of the preposition. All fits. But it's a noun clause, it's not a noun. So this is an odd puppy. Let's pull out the verb phrase. Let's pull out the main verb phrase for the main sentence, which is a main verb. That's easy. Same thing with his noun phrase. Okay, noun phrase, this has a determiner and a noun. Those are easy to do, right? For whom you are looking. What's this doing? What is this preposition doing, for whom you are looking? This is describing one. Okay? Gail is the one. Which one? The one I'm looking for. One. Oh, that one. So it's an adjective. Let's pull that off and we'll say, okay, this is an adjective. Phrase. This is a phrase. Okay, adjective phrase, which is a preposition. Preposition includes a preposition and a noun phrase. This noun phrase is a sentence. Okay? And this noun phrase is actually a noun clause, right? So, a couple ways I can break this down. Okay, I can just say you are looking, okay, and then I can put in for someone over here. Literally, I can put in for someone. And then move this. Someone becomes whom. And this gets thrown up front. This gets thrown up front, right? We're not going to do that. We're just going to make it a little easier. I'm just going to say sentence, and I'm going to say here's your complementizer here, and here's your noun phrase, and here's your verb phrase. Now your noun phrase is going to be just a noun, you. Your verb phrase, main verb phrase, auxiliary, which is are, and then main verb, which is looking. Okay? Again, literally, there is a transformation that's going on. Okay? You are looking for someone. And then that all gets thrown up to the front. But I'm not, don't worry about this. Forget about this. As long as you understand this breakdown, you're okay. All right? Okay, so we'll look at the next one. If the manager is unable to help, try the assistant manager. Okay, a couple interesting things going on here, and I've also gotten rid of some of my space, sorry to say. We got a sentence. If. Whoa, that is not a normal beginning, right? Here's the normal beginning. Try the assistant manager, period. Actually, this is odd, too, because there's no real subject in here. Let's forget about this side for a minute. Let's do our noun phrase, which is right here. I'm sorry, yeah, noun phrase. And that goes to a noun, and that noun doesn't exist. Okay? It's the understood. It goes right here. Okay? You, try the assistant manager. Now, when you're doing commands, the subject is not there, right? When your mother says, come here, right? When you say to your boyfriend, get out of here, you're not using the command or the subject, you, so it's not there. So this is a command, so the subject is not spoken, but it's there. And we got a verb phrase, and this verb phrase has a main verb phrase, which is a main verb, which is try. Okay? And then it has a noun phrase. The noun phrase has a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. Piece of cake, right? What the heck is this thing over here, this conditional sentence? Well, all of this is basically describing how to try. Try after this. Try before this, right? Try when this. Okay? So this is actually an adverb clause. So we'll come off the main sentence here. We'll have a verb phrase, if I could spell, and then we'll have an adverb clause. We've got a subordinator here, which is if, and a sentence. What does a sentence have? It's got a noun phrase, and this one has a determiner and a noun. Right? There's your main verb. So off the sentence here again, we have a verb phrase. We'll pull off of there your main verb phrase, and then your main verb, which is. Unable, we looked at before, right? Unable is an adjective, so we've got an adjective phrase and an adjective. Okay. To help. What is that? Well, that's not a preposition. That's an infinitive. Okay, and so normally what this is going to be, I'm not going to do it here because I don't have any space here. It's all gone. I'm going to just say, I'm sorry, but this to help would normally be that he can help. That's what I would probably put in here, right? That he can help. Okay, and then off of here, I would have another adjective clause, which would be a full sentence, and then I would reduce it to 2, right? Take all this piece here, get rid of it, and make it 2. Okay? I'm not going to do it because I don't have the space. But that's how that would work. All right? I think these are the last 2 that we're going to be doing. I know you are excited that there's only 2 more left. I know you are. Last 2. There's the last 2. Many books of mysteries and detective stories are found in our library. Let's put a big old S up here to begin. And obviously over here we're going to have a noun phrase. Many books. Okay? Of mysteries and detective stories. All this goes with of. Okay? You have a preposition, mysteries and detective stories. Which one's the noun? Here's the noun. Right? So all of these 2 are adjective phrases. So all this goes to... Here's a verb. Are, okay. Are found. Who? Take that back. Are found. What is that? Okay, that's a passive sentence. Passive verb in our library. So here's the main verb. All this stuff here, all this goes with the noun phrase. So let's start here. We've got to get a quantifier. And we have a noun. Okay, and we have an adjective phrase. The adjective phrase is the function. Its form is a preposition. Preposition has a preposition, is a prepositional phrase. Sorry again. Okay, so we've got a prepositional phrase. It has a preposition and it has a noun phrase. This noun phrase has adjectives. We'll just put in 2 adjectives. All right, we'll put it all in. Coordinating conjunction, not a coordinating, conjunction, another adjective, and then a noun. Okay, so mysteries and detective stories. All this comes off of the noun phrase. Yay. Okay. Are your main verbs. We'll come off of here. We do verb phrase. Main verb phrase, main verb. Oh, I'm wrong again. Scratch that out. This is an auxiliary. Here, are, and then over here we have our main verb, found. Okay, almost made a mistake there. Off of the verb phrase also we have another noun phrase, and no, we don't. Look at that, another mistake. What did I miss? I missed the preposition. Found in our library. Where are they found? Found in our library. Okay. If I answer the question, where are they found? I'm talking about location. Right? So I'm describing the verb. And where do you get them? So this is an adverb phrase, which is actually a prepositional phrase. So it includes a preposition and a noun phrase. This noun phrase includes a determiner and a noun. Right? My bad on the 2 mistakes. Okay, let's go look at the last one. The man whose neck was broken has recovered completely. All right, so the first one there, the man, that shouldn't be so hard, right? Then we have whose neck was broken. Neck was broken. That's a verb. Has recovered. That's a verb. Completely. Okay. Completely, ly, big hint there. That's an adverb. I got something going on here because I have a verb and a verb. This can't work. I've got to have a clause somewhere. Whose neck? Who are we talking about here? Well, the man's neck. The man's neck was broken. This looks like, excuse me, a clause right here. So, this part here, the man is the subject, and has recovered is the main verb, but this thing here is also describing which man. Which man? Well, the man whose neck was broken. Oh, that man. So this thing here describes the man. Since it's describing the man, it's going to be describing a noun, so it is an adjective. But it's a clause because it has a marker, subject, verb. So we can begin by putting a big old S up here at the top, and we know we're going to have a noun phrase. If we know this is the main verb, we know all of this goes with the noun phrase. So we're going to have a noun phrase with a determiner and a noun and some type of adjective. This adjective is an adjective clause. Okay? And I'm putting a clause in there just to say, hey, this is a full marker subject verb. Okay? I can break this down to say, oh no, we're just going to do this now. We're going to call it a sentence, and we've got a noun phrase. What's the noun phrase? Well, we've got a determiner, the man's. That's actually a determiner and an adjective. And the noun, neck. Okay, now the man's we can reduce to the word whose. Okay, so the man's neck was broken. That's going to be your verb phrase. Where'd my sentence go? Here we are. Verb phrase. Your verb phrase is going to have a main verb phrase, and that's going to be broken down into an auxiliary, was, and a main verb, which is broken. Okay? And we come on over here to the main sentence. Again, what's the main subject? Main subject is the man has recovered. So I need a verb phrase, which has a main verb phrase, which has an auxiliary and a main verb. Auxiliary and a main verb completely is an adjective. So we've got an adjective phrase, which is really just an adjective all by itself, completely. And that's it, kids. That's all we have for today's little exploration into sentence diagramming. I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you do have any questions, kindly let me know. I'll be glad to walk through this with you. Comments, you can send them downstairs. If not, you guys have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.